Hi, hello, my name is Nidhi, welcome to my channel. Today I will be doing a recently read video. These books are accumulated from the past few months and I'm finally here to talk about them. I'm so excited to talk about them. Most of them were very high and very positively received. This video is also kind of a part 1 out of a part 2. Like, this video will be released and then I have a beach reading vlog going up, which I read 3 more amazing books. And then finally I have another recently read video and I really hope you watch both of them because each video is sponsored by a company that I really want to share with you. This video is sponsored by Luisa. Luisa crafts high quality jewelry at very affordable prices. What's exciting about Luisa is that they actually also gave me a discount code that you guys can use in the description of my video. So these affordable jewelry will become even more affordable. About the pieces that I'm wearing, this one is called Celeste. I love how they're mismatched and one of them is like a star, one of them is a moon. I'm very much a gold type of girl. Like, I feel like most people fall into the rose gold / gold category or silver. So I love how these pieces are gold, so they complement me, my nose ring, and I think my skin tone very well. However, they have like pops of silver. But they also sent me 2 more pieces that I want to talk about. This one is called Emmy and it has these cute dangly almond shaped jewel at the bottom and then another hoop. I have already gotten compliments on these when I wore them out and so beautiful. The last piece they sent me is called Rowena. It's a size 6 and it has these very dainty flowers on them. I'm very much an earthy type girl, flowers, plants, my kind of thing. Being a Capricorn, you know me. From their packaging to their product itself, it is completely carbon neutral, which is so fresh and new, I feel like, in this industry. And the packaging comes in these like thick pouches that will definitely keep your jewelry safe. Gorgeous color. Can we just talk about that? Like, this is my color palette, like what I'm wearing right now. I love how the designs make you feel unique and personable, and I would recommend everyone and anyone to go check out the link in my description. All right, guys, now into the book portion of this video. Again, these aren't all the books I read recently. If you want to look at the books I do read, please follow me on Goodreads. I'm almost at 700 followers, which is crazy, insane. I think my reviews are pretty subpar, but many of you guys found them funny, so thank you. I just genuinely talk about the books I want to talk about. I will be going in no specific order. The first book I want to talk about is a book I actually own, which is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi, which was gifted to me by the beautiful, the wonderful, my favorite Aquarius in the planet, Kasey from Kasey Can Read. In New York, when I visited some of my booktube friends this summer, absolutely the best day of my life, by the way, we all did like a book exchange where we bought books for one other person. Yolk follows these 2 sisters, Janie and June, and they were once close, but they separated over the years, and one of the sisters ends up getting cancer and only the other sister can help her. So I read like the first part of this very much fast-paced and very quick through physical format, and then I've been getting into audiobooks recently. I know, who am I? I just felt like through audio I could understand the sisters a bit better, and it really made me finish the book faster. There are some trigger warnings that you should know before reading. I have sisters myself. I have an older sister and a twin sister, and I believe we're all pretty close. The main characters come from immigrant families, and I as well do, so it really made me feel seen once I finished the book. However, while reading this book or listening to it, I felt like I was an observer in this story and not exactly immersed in it. It was like I was watching the story unfold in front of me, which was kind of an unexpected feeling because I felt the themes and the dialogue and the relationships were written so intimately in a way that I could understand them and could see myself in them. However, that just wasn't the case. To conclude, I personally would have given this book 3 stars because I did like it and I would recommend it to people who are interested in that kind of gut-wrenching sisterhood story. However, it didn't impact me the most. Considering this book was given to me on like one of the best days of my life, I had the very best experience and I love how much Kasey loves this book that I had to move it up a star to 4 stars, so I really did like it. Alright, the next book I have is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I listened to this via audiobook, which is a common theme here. I ended up rating this book 3 stars, which I think is very on par with how I felt about this book. It literally gave me nothing. It was literally marsh girl smut, and that's how I can explain it. It follows this girl named Kaya who lives on the marsh, and she's kind of like an outcast in the society and the time period that this book takes place in, and everyone bullies her and she's isolated. It is like tying between the past and the present, where in the present a certain murder happens, but in the past it's explaining her life and how her family kind of abandons her and she kind of has to grow up defending herself. What I liked about it was the trial aspect, like the murder aspect. I'm in like the law pathway at my school, which we have to like advocate for some trials and we have to like go through the questioning process. Everything else though, like, what was the point? One of my friends brought up a good point on how there was actually marginalized people in this time period and there was actually people going through different struggles but the same themes that she was going through. The story would have been much more sincere and different if it talked about those type of people instead of this girl who is predominantly white, predominantly in a family that can provide for her in some sort of way, unlike other people people in that time period. Well, I do agree with that. In the end of the day, it was just so disappointing. It was white mediocrity at its finest. However, I did give it 3 stars because it wasn't terrible. Like, it had a plot, it had these devices, and it played in pretty nicely. But it's not like I would ever read it again or would recommend it. And I feel like if you do like this book, it's like a very niche, specific type of audience, which I understand, but the audience is like absolutely not for me, and if it is for you, interesting. The next book I want to talk about is Useless Magic by my literal god and savior, Florence Welch. I can talk about this book for years, for hours, for decades, and I will. So I was part of a booktube Secret Santa with some of my best friends here on this platform, and Mo from the Roomies Digest sent me this book for my wish list. If you are a Florence and the Machine fan, you need to check out this book. Like, it has every single song they have ever written, and it has some extra poetry as well. I love her artwork and the way she ties it all together. It has been released for a while. I have no words for books that mean so much to me, and this is one of them. I love Florence Welch. She is my favorite artist. If you don't listen to Florence and the Machine, I have a Florence and the Machine playlist on my Spotify, which is linked down below as well. But the fact is that playlist has every single Florence and the Machine song on there. The most beautiful book ever. The next book I'm talking about is the only manga that I'll be talking about, and that is One Piece. So I love One Piece. I am not caught up with the anime yet. I'm on episode 815, so almost there, but there are like over 1,000 episodes. If you don't know what One Piece is, you are missing out. It is like the most popular anime manga like in the entire country, in the entire world, running since like 1997, I believe. There's like over 1,000 chapters that are out and over 1,000 episodes. I'm on chapter 54, which is on volume 7, and I just wanted to update you on how I love it. It's very much a reminiscent time of the earlier days. One Piece is about this pirate crew, and they end up traveling the world. It's like a fantasy world, obviously, and certain of these people in this world have like magical powers. The main character we're following is Luffy, who ate the gum gum fruit, which allows his body to be rubber. He meets a crew of people that are all very different, dynamic, but that all sounds like very much like a childish kind of mentality of an idea. However, if you commit to the story, which is a big commitment, I would never ask it on anyone. If you asked me even a year ago if I'll be watching One Piece, the answer would be probably no. But I started last June, and here we are, still now reading the manga. The themes that are explored, the writing that's taken place, like the subliminal messaging, the plot devices, like it's absolutely like insane how such a long-running show can just only keep getting better. Oda is just a mastermind, and he's been doing this for like over 2 decades at this point. I don't know how this man functions. I love being a One Piece fan. It gives me kind of a superiority complex, but at the end of the day, I absolutely love One Piece. The next book I want to talk about is I Am Malala, and I don't know if I can talk about this book without crying. I'm not a person that cries while reading books. I'm really not. Something about it, the tears at the end. This book has been out for a while. It follows Malala Yousafzai, who is a woman who was shot by the Taliban, and her story. You know, a book is 5 stars when the prologue itself is absolutely mind-blowing and mesmerizing. Her story, she is just like such an inspiration to me, and for women everywhere. She's part of the reasons why I want to continue my life in humanitarian work and go down the field of international affairs and that sort of public policy aspect. I finished it in 1 day through audio, which has never happened before previously. It has happened now. That was the first time I like started that day, finished it that day, and it was just a gut-wrenching book. I really want you to go into memoirs like these with the highest expectations possible, and you will still be wowed and completely on the floor sobbing, because that's what I was like. I just could not stop reading. It was crazy. What is interesting though, as each event happens in her life, it was more traumatic than the event that happened previously to it, and I felt very numb to what was happening, and she'd be describing something that's absolutely gruesome, horrifying, something I've never even thought to even witness with my own eyes, and I would just be listening like, at least it wasn't as bad as that thing, and kind of comparing these events when in reality none of this should be just taking place in the first place. It's like I wasn't even comprehending how inhumane the things were happening because it was just so normal in her story. Her words are just so powerful. Such an amazing book. I just believe everyone and anyone, whoever you are, needs to read this book. Absolutely phenomenal. Alright, the next book I want to talk about is the lowest rated book that I have here, which is In the Dutch House. I'm honestly not going to say much about it because I listened to it via audiobook also for the book club that I'm part of with my best friends. As a character-based reader, I cared about none of the characters, which is very hard to do in literary fiction like this. I feel like I'm actually interested in something that happens, but I wasn't. I could literally only explain the plot of this book and maybe one cohesive subplot. Other than that, over my head, into one ear, out the other. It was just boring. It was okay. Clearly other people enjoy this book for different reasons. Maybe I'm just not the target audience for it. Again, the thing with white mediocrity is that it is just so incredibly mediocre that you're just wondering what everyone else sees in it. Also through audio, you hear a lot of repeated phrases, and it was just very much complaining, and just different plots of the book didn't make sense with other plots of the book, and when it did correlate, I was like, what is the reasoning behind this? It was just weird. It didn't make me feel anything. I think it goes back to being a character-based reader. If I don't care about the characters, the plot is like mediocre, mediocre at its finest. What is there for me to actually enjoy and what is there for me to hold on to? Nothing, exactly. Into the Dutch House follows these siblings that I do not remember the names of, and they grow up in this Dutch house. Eventually, something happens with their mother and their stepmother comes in and they end up getting kicked out of that house, but then it follows their lives as they grow into different people and eventually kind of reclaim this house in a way that's kind of like what it is, and I think it's like a metaphor, I guess, but you know, just it wasn't the vibe. The next book I want to talk about is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, which I've been wanting to read for a while. It follows this boy whose brother was recently killed. He's on this elevator about to like face his brother's killer. In the elevator, he sees deceased people or different people of his family and his life and his friends that kind of talk not some sense into him, but like ask him questions and make him ponder stuff. I read this while imprisoned in school suspension. Yes, I am that girl. Funny because I have not received it once. I've received it twice. Moving on from my hate for in-school suspension, I just read this the entire time I was there. It is genuinely a wonderful piece of literature. It's the type of novel that I hope generations of people analyze across the country. I also recently read it through graphic novel format, and that was also beautiful. The artwork is just stunning. I think everyone should read this. If the premise itself doesn't sound interesting, let me tell you, the poetry itself is just so beautiful. And then the last book I want to talk about is A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahira Mafi. I own the book. I have read the book 5 times. Knowing me, that is not surprising. It's contemporary YA, very easy to get through. I always finish it in like one day. I finished this book or read a large majority of this book while tutoring. I was at my school to tutor some people, but nobody really showed up for tutoring, but even if you go there, you get hours anyway. So what I usually do while I'm tutoring or waiting for people to tutor who never show up is I read. And this was a book I finished there. I read it like yearly, annually, you know. I love it so much. 5 out of 5 stars. It follows this girl named Shirin at her new high school. She moves around a lot and it takes place after the events of 9/11. And it kind of shows how her life changes in this environment after 9/11. It's great because stories that take place about POC protagonists in YA, it's very hard to come by stories that don't have to deal with trauma or don't have to deal with generational issues. It was very refreshing to read a book about this girl like trying to find love for the first time, trying to find friends, trying to fit in her high school. I think Tahira Mafi does a great job emphasizing these relationships. I absolutely love it. 5 out of 5 stars. It is not one of my favorite books all time, and it has the potential to be. However, I was expecting to be moved or cry or like, which it didn't happen, which in a way I'm grateful for, as I said before, but I was just expecting that and I felt like it fell flat at the end because that didn't deliver. However, I still recommend it to everyone, especially if you're looking for that cutesy contemporary sort of novel that also deals with difficult themes, characters that are written very well. I heard there's like a movie adaptation or something coming out for this like a while ago when I first read it in like 2019. Since then, I don't know what's happening to it. I felt like the plot and chain of events do lack a little bit, but that does not take away from the essence of the story. Seeing how I have read it 5 times now, it gets a little bit repetitive. Or not repetitive is the right word, it's just like predictable because I know what happens. That again is on me for reading it 5 times. Okay, so that's that. Right now I'm currently reading People We Meet on Vacation. Oh, I need to finish the Poppy War series. I'm on the 2nd book, which is The Dragon Republic, and then I'll be reading The Burning God. So I hope you're excited for me to talk about those. And then in my next recently read video, I'll be talking about John Green, Hank Green, A Little Life, Sleeping Giants, Heartstopper Volume 4, and other books that I hope you're interested in. So I hope you go check that video out right when you're done watching this. Again, please go check out Ana Luisa. Such gorgeous jewelry. I'll be wearing them in every video from now on. The link is in my description. So worth it, so beautiful, and I hope you stick around. I hope you're excited for my announcement in the 2nd video. Love you guys so much. Bye, y'all.